It makes me strong. It takes me high. The music moves my soul up, by and by. I pledge allegiance to the house. It's the groove that will always be around. So I'm the one sent here to announce that you can't stop the house.
Sound don't stop, so rock your box, can't stop the house. House music will grow, make everybody know, don't stop the house. It makes me strong, it's never wrong, don't stop the house.
Play.
Hear the beat in the street, can't stop the mark,
So
can't
this
stop
is
the
what I
mark.
need to buy.
Music makes me
Can you
go,
tell me what the name and I'll buy
can't
it?
stop the house. The sound is my life, it takes me to paradise, don't stop the house, don't stop the house.
You tell me and I'll do it.
You and the crowd,
This will
DJ
work,
looks the crowd, can't stop the
but it
house.
didn't block that out.
In the scheme,
This has a
things
built-in.
goes, house nation will sing, don't stop the house, don't stop the
Or
house.
what, around the 80s on the tax?
House Nation. House
You
Nation.
rented
House Nation.
I'll have to reimburse.
House Nation. House Nation. House Nation. House Nation.
hold it
House
and then
Nation. House Nation. House Nation.
Or you just gonna take a bet? Oh, thank you. Well, I'll need some so I can get them. Just take a
House
picture of
Nation.
my
House
phone and
Nation. House
I'll
Nation.
take a box.
Can't stop the house, come and rock my house. Please don't stop the house, just don't stop
I get them on
the house.
Amazon.
Can't stop the house, come and rock my house. Please don't stop
Should be
the
going live
house,
any minute.
just don't stop the house.
It says refresh
House
the
Nation.
screen. It'll say
House
refresh
Nation.
the screen.
House
It
Nation.
goes live instead. They're showing
House
the
Nation.
band. We've not live
House
yet.
Nation. House Nation. House Nation. House Nation. House Nation. House Nation. House Nation.
Then the co-host is in.
House Nation.
I won't stop, I won't stop, I won't stop.
See, I color my hair. Until I change my hair color. It looks better. Who's that girl? Who is that? Aren't they supposed to leave at 5? It's 5:05. Huh? They are here till 7 now? But she's a yoga. She's something else. She's not with them.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome, everybody. Yes, yes, yes. Of course, it looks different today because it's just me, you, and the world, everybody. Welcome back. It's your boy, Rico No Suave, here on a 1-2-1-2. My co-host, Valerie, is out sick today, so we wish her well. Hopefully, she gets better, but she will be out today, so I'll make sure you all wish her well as far as a speedy recovery. Yes, but I am ready to get it going, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. I am super, super ecstatic. Yes, I am super happy and super ecstatic to be back with each and every one of you guys today. And you know, everybody, this is the month of awareness of autism. We're going to put that flyer up for autism. Everybody, yes. And you know, one of the things that we love to talk about is people that do great things for people of different, when you have maybe diabetes or also awareness, a month awareness for cancer. But this month is, of course, for autism, everyone. And I am so super happy to be able to introduce as far as this company called Unique Sweets. So we're going to bring that one up because that here is happening this Saturday. Yes. This Saturday itself, everyone, Unique Sweets and La Sandwich Cheddar Cafe. Yes, that's happening this Saturday, April 15th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. 2721 Division Avenue, everyone. So make sure you go ahead and celebrate with them. Afternoon, little cafecito. You got some got some cupcakes. Ooh, well, you know it's Unique Sweets, right? Big shout out, of course, to Lisa, of course, that's actually running everything there. So I want you guys to make sure you go ahead and support her, support the whole group. There's going to be a lot of people there. And of course, you know, being that it's, you know, awareness of autism, you know, we take things seriously, but we also, on a positive note, you know, we're all great human beings. So I want you guys to make sure that you go ahead and support them this Saturday, April 15th. Now, you know that, you know, when it comes to me cooking, because I love to cook as well, too, I actually did something with Unique Sweets, and it was such an awesome thing to do, you know, to be able to have people that have autism to be able to cook alongside with you, but also to be able to have everybody on Zoom. It was kind of unique. No pun intended, right? It was awesome. So I was super happy to be able to do that with them. So Lisa, thank you so much for actually allowing me to be able to post this flyer on my show. It is an awesome, awesome thing. All right, everybody, I got to introduce this beautiful young lady that's here. Tuning in, of course, tuning in from LA, Hollywood style, everyone. This young lady, not only do I really love her name, but she is an artist. She is a gem of the world. She's very inspirational. She is, how can I say it? When you find someone that has that vibe and they can also just get the vibe that you have, she is that veteran, that war veteran from Vietnam as well, too. She also has her own show. Well, it was a talk show sensation, I should say, 15 minutes as well. And we are ready to talk about everything about her entertainment as well. So I want you guys to stand up, put your hands together for none other than Osiris Munir. Yeah, baby, let's go. And just by actually just seeing that picture, I really love her. Let's bring her on.
Aw. Hey.
Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hold on, let me see. Let me see if I can get you there. Let me see if I can get you there. Hold on. I can't get you yet.
I can hear you.
Let's see. Let's see. Are you there, love?
I can hear you.
All right. I can hear you too. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hey. I am excellent. I'm in good spirits. I love being around people in other high spirits, just like I am.
Yeah.
So thank you for inviting me to the show. I'm so excited. I feel like a big celebrity being on the
You
Rico
are.
Side.
Hey, with all of those records behind you, love. I mean, that you can't help but to be that celebrity.
That is in on behalf of Eric of Nirvana Studios of Hollywood, who he was so kind to let us use the studio today. So we are hanging out at Nirvana Studios of Hollywood here.
Big shout out to Eric. Tell Eric I love him for that. Tell him I love him for that. And just making you, of course, look like a superstar that you are, love. You are a superstar. Yes. All right, everybody. You know, one of the things that we're going to get this party started right away. We know we got a couple commercials that we're going to actually go through, but we got to talk about you. You know, growing up as a kid, I read your bio, and there's a lot, there's a lot to actually learn from you, love. And I have to say, growing up, you did have, some trying times, but you also accomplished those trying times as well, too. Let's talk about, when you actually started off at, we got some funny stories. So I want to start off with that funny story that you were actually, doing while you were actually growing up. Take us through your lifestyle of growing up.
So you're taking me back. But anyway, it is as vivid in my mind now as it was then.
Okay.
And so basically, I grew up in a small town in Waco, Texas. This part of the area was called Sandstown, and that's because nobody wanted to live over there. Mm-hmm. So I was born in Amarillo. My dad and all of the men in our family were in the military. So I grew up around nothing but military men. Everybody had a job. I don't know what it's like to know men that don't have money. And so we as girls at that time, young Black girls especially, were not allowed to even go out in the front yard by ourselves. I mean, literally, my brother had to escort me everywhere, to the bathroom, out the front yard, to school, everywhere. So consequently, as a little kid and being the feisty woman that I am, that kind of energy, I was very curious. So I started hanging out with people in high school. My pastime when I wasn't in school was to hang out with my grandmother, who always managed to tell me her stories. And again, as a woman and a girl, I wasn't allowed to go anywhere by myself. So I would go in the area we lived in. Everyone lived on the same street, like a little African village. I mean, literally, my aunt and uncle lived next door. My grandmother lived down next to them. My cousins lived across the street. My other cousins lived on the side of them. My other aunt lived next door to them. So the whole street was nothing but kinfolk, as we called it in those days.
Yeah.
And then, unlike most kids these days, I was not brought up in a mixed school. All of my teachers were Black. The whole area that we grew up in, it was all Black. So I didn't have the experience of not knowing who I was. And my parents never harped on that we were Black kids. The only time we heard the word white mentioned actually was when my mother would clean rich, like she was a maid, a housekeeper, and she had to clean like doctors and dentists, people like that. We were kids. We didn't know they had any status because they didn't treat us any other way other than Miss Reed has come over there to clean the house. And she would just say, whatever you do, you better not break none of these white folks' stuff because we ain't got no money to pay for it. And that's the only time that came up as a subject. My dad, who was in the Navy, I'm talking about my stepfather who raised me, he was in, or what do you call it, reared, reared me, they say. He was in the Navy and we traveled quite a bit, which is how we ended up in Waco. But he was in the Navy and he was quite educated, so much to the point that he was a nurse's assistant. And Mom was a housekeeper. So we had a pretty broad range of experiences, and we had a very colorful family. So you're talking about a little girl that grew up with outhouses, and we used to run up and down my grandmother's garden with blueberries, and she had a meat house where she would smoke meat. And then she would cut chickens' heads off and they would run around the yard. I mean, I didn't know that my childhood was colorful. I didn't want anybody to know I grew up in Waco and grew up in a country town because I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
I thought, we're really country and nobody's going to want to talk to us. As soon as they said join the Navy and ride the waves, I'm like, I'm in.
I like that. I like that story because, the cool thing about the way you said this was about there was no color that was defined as when you were little. You know, and the cool thing about it is that everyone was human. Everyone was the same species, I should say. You
Yeah.
actually was living in a world where racism, you know, didn't matter. There wasn't a color that was actually saying, I'm better than you. It was so awesome the way that you actually were coming up because your father, or I'm sorry, the person, your guardian was
Yeah,
very,
my dad.
your
That's my dad.
dad,
My
he
dad
was very successful and intellectual that he knew exactly what path that he wanted to go down. And that was such a great thing to actually hear.
Yeah, and the strange thing is that my mother, unlike my father, didn't have any education at all. I think she made it to like the fourth or fifth grade. My
Wow.
dad literally said he married my mom because she had a nice butt, and that she could and that she could cook, and he already had us. So he took on other kids because he liked.
Well, you know, I mean, why did you marry her? Well, I mean, she had a nice butt. I like it. I mean, it was just love. I mean, I love
And
that,
he
you know.
said that my mom was probably one of the most down to earth people he had ever met because she, even though, she had common sense. So we had a lot of common sense.
Yeah.
And I was just a really smart kid as a girl, and I was always like, ahead of my class of teachers. One of those people, so nobody liked me when I was little. I was all people wanted to fight me. I didn't even know what they wanted to fight me. And also, you have to understand in Southern families, there is a lot of mixtures. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. There's a lot of different cultural blends and mixes in Southern families. That's how we are. Everybody had a different dad, or somebody came from another family and they were mixed, or something. So there was no need to identify anyone being anything other than we were all black and we all lived in the same area. We were all cousins and, that kind of thing. That's where the connection was. I didn't think about how beautiful it was until I was mature.
Yeah, yeah. And I have to say, you definitely had, the common sense and the intellectual side, because also, with common sense, of course, that brings you down to the earth a little bit, right? Sometimes. And I think what that does is it takes you down a path of maybe recognizing where common sense may come in another situation. Like, well, that's common sense. I mean, that's definitely what it is, and I think that helps. I think that helps out a lot. I think, when you were growing up as well, did you play any sports? Did you play any any
I
activity?
did.
Yeah.
I grew up around all boys. I only have one sister, and
Uh-huh.
everybody was boys. All my cousins were boys. It was only like one or two girls in each of the families.
Uh-huh.
So I was always one of those really kind of tom girls, they called us back in the day. One of the girls, I wanted to play with my brothers, and they wouldn't let me play with them. They're like, "Oh no, you're a girl, you can't play with us." I'm like, "I want to play." And my dad would always take up for me. He's like, "Let her play if she wants to play. Don't try to hold her back because she's
Right.
a girl." But they also made it distinct that I was a girl and that there were certain things that men did that girls were just not exposed to. My brothers I was very sheltered as a child. I want you to know that.
Okay.
My big entertainment came when all of the relatives would come on the holiday season, and me and my brother Kenneth would get to dance because my mother and my aunt, they all grew up in a small town of Paducah, Texas, and they all danced. That's where I learned to dance from them. And my brother and my mother used to do the Lindy Hop and the swing and all of that with us, and she would throw us into the wall to make us dance. And one day we got tired of throwing out in that wall, and me and my brother, we we got it. And I've been dancing ever since. I eventually became a professional dancer.
Yo, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I love this when me throwing me against the wall. I need to get out of here. Okay. So
We got it. We got it.
so Osiris, when you actually started dancing professionally, was it only one specific dance or was it multiple dances that you were dancing?
No, it was multiple dances. And what happened is that when I got out of the military, I had a kid, and there was a lot that had happened to me in there.
Uh-huh.
And I went to Sonoma State College because my parents were living in California, which is how I got to California. They moved here. And then
Uh-huh.
as soon as I got here, they all went back to Texas and I stayed.
I see.
So, because I had always said I was going to move to California and become rich and famous, even when I was a little kid. My mother used to say, yeah, right. I used to become rich and famous. But anyway, by the time I got out of Sonoma State, I had been around a lot of artists, people anyway. You're talking about Dr. Maya Angelou. You're talking about you're talking about Intozaki Shanghai. You're talking about all of these different people that had something to do with art and culture and language. And
Yeah.
so I didn't even know the importance of the people I was around because I didn't know anything about art and all of that.
Right.
I didn't grow up in New York or one of the big cities where art was a big deal, and even my parents, other than dancing and all of that, my dad was a watch sports and westerns on TV kind of guy. He was tired at the end of the day. And my mother basically listened to music. And so most of my background is in music because that's what I had to as my best friend. That was my best friend.
That's love. I love that. I love that. I mean, I think music, I always say music makes you lose control, right? But also
Yeah.
what music does, also, it brings so many different aspects of happiness to people. There's different levels of happiness when you're listening to music. Sometimes you can just be happy, just grooving. But then when that hype music comes on, it just makes your feet just want to burn. You already know. I'm like, that's what we do.
No matter where I am, if music comes on, I'm like, oh, they laugh. I'm like, I don't care. I am like getting it. And I really, I'm a good dancer. I can dance. I'm still flexible. I can move after practicing yoga and all those different things. I mean,
That's
when I got
love.
out of high school and went into the Navy, I ended up in Northern California in Sonoma State. And a
Uh-huh.
lot of people from back east influenced my behavior.
Okay.
So everybody that was cool were the people from back east, and they thought I was cool. So
Yeah.
they would call me KK for cool kid.
That's
'Cause
right.
everybody was older than me. I didn't know, I didn't know anything. That they would kind of took me under their wing, like, come on, girl. So I wanted to sing. Yeah, I went through a whole lot of little different things before I found who I was in Osiris.
That's all right. And that lovely name that you have, Osiris, I tell you, there's always a great meaning. I'm sure there's a great meaning behind your name, but it does follow you in a right path in a positive way. I do want to talk to you about the Vietnam as a veteran, right? Tell me exactly what does that mean before we, catch a commercial. What does that mean to you in regards to your story and where you and how you look at it back in the day from now?
Well, I didn't know a lot. You have to understand, I did grow up as a very sheltered kid.
Sure.
So I didn't expect a world of deceit or lies or anything. I didn't know anything about that. I just
Yeah.
grew up with my family and, you form a sense of trust from that. So I was extremely naive going into the military and first time away from home. I remember and remember that I was always escorted everywhere. I was never alone by myself.
Sure.
So my first experience with going out of Waco was to go to Dallas, where you go in and you go to the recruiting office and, you see all of these people. You've never been anywhere alone. So the recruiting officer in the Air Force, really tall guy, I remember to this day, he said, if you really want to be in the Air Force, I'll get you in. And then he showed up at my door like late at night. I didn't even sleep. I was so scared. I didn't sleep the whole night. And then from there, they sent me to Bainbridge, Maryland for boot camp. In boot camp, I don't know what people think, but you are not on vacation. It is boot camp. It's a training where they train you to discipline yourself, to get up at a certain time in the morning, to do a certain kind of thing in your home. All of these things are wonderful training because they develop the human mind and they discipline the human mind. And I didn't even know that that's what the military did, again, until I got out and got older, and matured. And then I understood why discipline was necessary. If you want to have a career, you need discipline. If you want to be successful, there's a certain amount of discipline. If you want to have a home and family, a certain amount of discipline. If you work a job, it's a certain amount of discipline. So
Right.
the military really trained us to be disciplined, to act like ladies, to without treating us like men, but to still treating us with the respect, because at the end of the day, we were all military.
Right.
Didn't matter. We were all military. And then one branch of military supports the other branches. The Air Force is the skies. They govern everything that happens in the air, the Navy, the water, the whole thing. So when you go in, but you actually, when you go into boot camp, you go to school and they teach you military terms and they teach you a military life and how a military life goes. You don't go out. I mean, they give you what they call a leave, and then you take a 2-week vacation or whatever it was, and you go home. Some people don't have a home to go to. Their parents might live in the place that they are. I came from Texas, so it was always a trip for me to go home. I had to go home. So that kind of thing.
Sure.
So that's kind of what, what happened, in the military. And then there is a lot of, what do I want to say? There's a lot of rape and molestation that goes on in the military, especially against women.
Wow.
I mean, you guys are talking about the moment you land, they are all over you. You're talking about nothing but men.
Wow.
At a naval base that's not co-ed necessarily. I mean, at that time, it wasn't co-ed. It was like the men and the women's got women's barracks,
Sure.
the men's barracks. And the men and the women would sneak into each other's barracks. So the separation I never understood, because people kind of did what they were going to do anyway. And
Yeah.
it didn't matter what the rules were, because you can't keep an eye on the barracks and the unit 24 hours a day. And at the end of the day, men are going to be men, women are going to be women, and people are going to be human, and things are going to happen.
Right.
And that's what my experience was. I was very fortunate that I've always been liked by someone.
Yes.
And my Lieutenant JG, I will never forget him. He just adored me. He didn't even know why. He just adored me. He was just like, whatever trouble she gets into or she got in, it was because she just doesn't know. She doesn't know. She's naive. So I actually got in a captain's mess where they strip you of your
Stripes.
your title and your
Right.
rank.
Uh-huh.
And what had happened was something had happened on the base, and we had a big riot. It's a historical riot, and they rioted in the streets of Norfolk, Virginia. And I was in the riot, and because I had a big old black afro at the time, they used to call me Angela Davis, like, you look like Angela Davis, cool kid. And then years later, I actually got to interview and meet Angela Davis. It's on my blog and on my YouTube channel.
Wow.
But at the time, I had this big black afro, and it was blue black. I wanted it really black. And
So I got a picture. I got a picture of an afro that you sent me. Can I? Is that the one? Let me put this up. I got to put this up because you talk about Angela Davis. Is this the one?
That's see how big my afro is?
Yeah.
Look how big my afro
I love
is.
it. Oh
Their
man.
natural. I was wearing the natural and rocking the organic back in the day, hardcore.
Yeah.
So that's me from back in the day. I was on leave visiting my parents from in the military. But I met people in the military from all over the world. And one thing that I'll never forget and really appreciate is that being in the military and being exposed to a military life and meeting people from all over the world gives you a whole nother expansion of your mind. And it gives you a whole nother broad way of thinking about the world in general versus your small community or your small little family. You are actually in a room and on a base with nothing but people from all over the world, and you have one thing in common. You are all there to fight in case of a war.
Right.
That's what the military is. You're not on vacation. If a war goes down, you're going to fight. You're going to do and function the way you need to function to get the job done, to protect this country. And
Wow.
that's what being a vet is all about.
I think when we talk about, before we go to a commercial break, that, the thing about what you're talking about touches, I have a lot of friends that's actually in the military as well, too. And I do have to say thank you for your services in regards to this. But you are right. When you're actually in the military, you are one to be able to fight for a country. But also because people that have lived and also who have died doing this, we definitely commend. And I'm sure there's a lot of stories, and even veterans that I've actually met that have, what is it when they have flashbacks? Is it PSTD?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, and I can imagine in regards to what they go through. Right. And it's so funny because I was just talking to someone in regards to how you veterans actually, need to be taken care of like VIPs, because you are the ones that's fighting for our lives. Right. And, for us that are here living freely, but at the same time, too, of course, we're working, but you guys have a more dangerous job than we do. Right. When it's time for war,
Not only that, you're exposed to high levels of in communication that a regular public doesn't get.
Right.
And in case of a war right now in this country, they will call every abled vet in this country. We would immediately know what to do.
Yeah.
We would know what to do. It's so ingrained in your mind and your behavior that I can still remember all of my VA numbers, your file numbers, your ID number. It gets ingrained in you never forget it. It never goes away. And you never really stop being a vet. When you get out of the military, you have to make an adjustment to these. You've been living in this protected world of everything's given to you. You get fed, you get, they give you your hours and everything. So all of a sudden you're out like, what do I do now? Where do I go? And nobody cares. Half the companies, and I'm saying this on live television, that say that they take care of veterans and get veteran discount, they completely ignore you. They don't do it. I tried it. They do not do it. They do not uphold that. In most places that I've been, if I say I'm a vet, they do not do it.
And I think that's the sad part about it, because veterans, you've done so much. And I think because the country is so big, and with people that's actually fighting for this country, you guys are VIPs. You guys are the ones that needs to be taken care of. And I think that's because you're fighting for our lives. That's very important to us. And I always tell all of my friends and people that's actually in the reserves, thank you for your service, man. Every time I see someone in their uniforms, I say, thank you for your service, because we don't know that one day you might be called upon to be able to fight for this country, or to be able to help another country fight for their country. So I really want to thank you for that. And I pray that it does get better as well. So my love, Osiris, we're going to take a quick commercial break. All right. So I'm just going to show everybody our social media, which is a nice little video. Everybody, that's Osiris Munir. We'll be right back. 30 seconds, everybody.
What am I doing? Eric. Oh my God.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Yes, it is me, your boy Rico No Suave talk show. None other than the beautiful artist Osiris Munir. Are you having a good time, love?
I am always having a good time. I love chatting. I'm a very private person, actually.
Okay.
But when I'm out, it's out.
Yeah.
It's out. Yeah. So.
I
But
love
I always
that.
want to get to the man. It's fun, you know.
Awesome, awesome. All right, love. So because we only get an hour minimum, or 45 minutes of fame around here.
No
So
worries.
when it comes to you coming from, and everybody, if you don't know, she grew up where there was common sense and there was intellectual. She grew up where she actually was in an area where color didn't matter when she was little. And then, of course, when she started to grow up, she started dancing like the world is just watching her, or she just looking at everybody and say, watch me be professional. Then we get into where you get as far as being a Vietnam veteran. And also what goes on in the military and what we need to be thankful for. I do have to say, I have to give some shout outs to people that is watching right now. Big shout out to John T for free. I do want to say this comment that he's actually saying right now. He said, we don't look out for our veterans. We don't look out for our elderly people. We do not look out for our disabled. We become so independent, we only look out for ourselves. And I do have to commend them in regards to that, because that's sometimes how the world is actually, hey, if I'm better than you, or if I'm able to do certain things, I'm going to be able to reach it faster, but you're not actually helping the community grow like a village, right? You're not making everybody like that VIP status where we know that just because you work hard to get there, there's people that's out there fighting. Right now, there's people out there fighting for you to be able to stay here and do what you're doing. So great comment. Thank you so much. Beatrice Davis is checking in. She said, hi, sexy lady. Hi, sexy lady.
He knows me.
Yes. And then we have we have Patty Escobar checking in as well too. Patty is checking in. Hollywood's checking in. My man James Dunn is checking in. He's giving us the flex. He said, "Hey, keep it strong over there." All right, love. Let's keep it going, man. As other people are actually checking in and just watching the video.
I love that. Thank you for your support, everyone.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. And here comes to our next part, because I know you talked about it. It kind of goes into what we're doing right now. You love the chat. You love the talk. You had a talk show sensation, and it was called 15 Minutes, right? Yeah. 15 minutes. Tell us about how you got started with that, and tell us how you became that sensation.
Well, let me back it up just a little bit.
Sure.
When I got to LA, I always wanted to be in media, but no one would let me get in the door.
Okay.
So I ran into, you're talking about the early 80s. Now I'm coming from Sonoma State, coming from Northern California to Southern California. And I just want to add really quickly, at the time, I had met Maurice White of Earth, Wind and Fire. So when I got to LA, I had been with a group of people that were chanters, Buddhist people. I'm a Buddhist chanter. And, they said you can chant for anything you want. So like Tina Turner did, I tried it. Next thing I knew, I was in this circle of creative people. I mean, all these people, big time. Herbie Hancock, Earth, Wind and Fire, Tina Turner, they were all practicing Buddhists here in LA. Wow. So that's how I got into the circle. All of the dancers that were on Michael Jackson's video, Thriller, all Buddhists. They were all famous dancers here in LA, all practicing. So that's what first broke me in the door. Then after that, I couldn't get in media, so I started modeling. I did that. I ended up at Otis Parsons. I became a Vidal Sassoon house model, blah, blah, long story. Ended up going to Europe, stayed in Europe for a year, modeled over there, did some Yves Saint Laurent stuff over in Italy, came back, couldn't do that because I had 2 kids. Okay. And so I was like, okay, I can't model anymore. So the Otis Parsons said, well, we don't care what you have or whatever. You are still gorgeous. You can still model. We love your look. Can we work with you? So that's how I got into modeling. Then eventually I got a little bored with modeling. And in order to have been a successful model at that time, I would have had to go back to Europe. Nina Blanchard, and I'm quoting her, Nina Blanchard here in LA told me, there is only one Sherry Belafonte. That's what she said to me. I will
Yes.
never forget what she said to me. And
Wow.
so that I ended up going to Europe and trying to do it from there, but I had no way to be a single mom and still try to have a career. So
Sure.
I couldn't do it as much as I would have liked to get in there and do it. I couldn't do that. So I ended up going into doing extra work. And then I went from extra work. Finally, I ended up at the William Morris Talent Agency. It's now WME. It was William Morris back in the day.
Sure.
That
Sure.
led me into the next circle of celebrities and superstars. And I was in all these people. Gail Holcomb, who is still she's one of the partners now at William Morris, but she trained me. And I stayed there for about 3 years, and I went to everything, everywhere. It was so much fun, you guys. I mean, we got to go backstage with all the celebrities in the green room, and you mix and mingle with everybody, but at no time do you step outside of the realm that you are working for them. You are not them. You are working for them. So from William Morris, I ended up getting a job at a small company that was they were a construction company for the Jurassic Park project. And I was the only girl, and not only that, the only girl of color, and they did not want me to leave, but I was bored out of my mind. But one of the one of the legs on the Jurassic Park leg my name is on it. They put my name on a Tyrannosaurus leg. So if you ever see my name, it's on one of the legs that they dedicated to me. They
Oh, nice.
they didn't want me to come. I'm like, I am bored still. So from there, it's really a lot of work, and it's not entertaining. It's very serious, heavy kind
Sure.
of stuff because you're looking at grids and things like that all day, and construction and architecture and design, things like that. But I went from there and ended up at the record label for Universal Music Group. There I met another circle of music celebrities. And at that time, Mary J. Blige, TLC,
Wow.
Erica Badu, not Erica Badu, all of them were just starting. Casey and JoJo,
Wow.
Mariah Carey, they were all baby artists.
Wow.
And we were the people behind the scenes that nobody ever gives credit to, that do all of the work. I'm talking about, we used to stay up late at night in our pajamas just to make sure that if somebody's single was going to drop, that it was at the radio stations by 6 o'clock the next morning, be on the streets before the news hit the streets. That's the kind of stuff that goes on in the industry that people don't tell you.
Yeah.
That's the real work going on, not what you see in front. But
Right.
what goes on behind
Right.
the scenes is what the industry is.
Right. And I commend you for saying that. You know what, Osiris? We got a question. We do have a question from Donna Marie Bird, and we're going to get to that after I make this comment. Thank you so much for tuning in. And all of you guys that's actually Buddhists that's out there as well. Hey, when you're actually, because, during that time when you had Casey, JoJo, all of those guys that was actually out there during that time, to be able to see them grow or as like baby boomers in this industry, you are so right. Everything that happens in the back end, people don't see that until you see what the production is in the front end. The back end is so much chaos in the back end that when you actually are in the production, it's almost like here's fun time. Oh, okay, this is actually production. But during the production as well, too, it's still chaos because you got to make sure that everything is right at the right time and the timing and wherever it is supposed to be. You got so many different people. I'm sure it was just running all over.
It was like
Go
nuts.
ahead. Yes.
Go ahead. You were going to ask me something.
Yeah, no. So I was going to ask you in regards to when you were with this group that was actually helping behind the scenes, what part did you play with TLC and all those guys?
We were all the assistants. So every department in the music label and the music company, they have assistants.
Okay.
So the bigger the name, the more assistants they have. So you're talking about Randy Jackson was one of our A&R people.
Wow.
Benny Pugh, a woman by the name of Nancy Levine, that's an industry legend.
Yes.
They had Ice Cube and all of those guys.
Come on.
Easy E and all of them.
Come
I mean, we used to go
on.
down to Long Beach, Redondo Beach, all of those areas were clubs and everything back in the day. And they
Yeah.
would all be working, and LA was like buzzing right around the early 80s, right up until like maybe
Yep.
the 90s.
Yes.
And everybody was out here.
Yes.
You had Winfred Marcella, Branford Marcella, all the jazz guys were out
Man.
here. Everybody was out in LA. It was buzzing. That's the time that I was in the industry when it was at its best. They used to have the
Man.
Speakeasy, the Red Apple, the all the Shrine Auditorium before it became all of these names it is now.
Yes.
That was where everything was going on, and we were like young and hungry, and we wanted to be everywhere. You didn't even if you worked for somebody like I worked as an assistant for one of the Randy Jackson and those guys. Sylvia Rohn, we used to have to talk to her all the time. People don't even give Sylvia Rohn any credit. She's one of the few black women we have in the industry that really got up there. They let her up there.
Nice.
They let her up there. They didn't let everybody up there. She was one of the
Wow.
few that they were let through the door.
Wow.
Sylvia Rohn, we talked to all of them all the time. Marilyn Batchelor. Oh gosh, it's so many people. I can't believe. I mean, I was just like this.
I just, I'm like you right now. I'm like, I wish I was there with you. Like, I wish I was there because we had all of those tapes. We had all of those albums. And even with CDs, we had all of them as far as
Comedy
listening to our
Jam?
car. Yes. And
Us
a
those
vinyl.
guys, they used to come out here and do comedy jams. Stan Lathan. They used to all do comedy jams. We would have the CDs because they didn't have any of the things. We would have the CDs like, yeah, we get everything before it hit the streets. Because we would be in the labels. And we
Yeah.
get a chance. I remember when 50 Cent's song came out, Up in the Club.
Right. Right.
And before it hit the
Yeah.
streets, everybody knew that it was a hit because it would go all of the labels. It's a hit. It's a hit. Radio, they're playing it, and everybody was like, "Oh man,
Yes.
it's a hit!" And everybody be dancing like, "Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my God, love. Hey, I love you, man. I love you. Oh my God. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. I just got to bring up, speaking of the club, hey, I'm doing a hosting. So everybody, check this out. I am doing a Spring Dance Music Festival this Saturday, April 15th. We got none other than, I don't know, it's just about 9 DJs. And I am hosting the Spring Dance Festival. This is a fundraiser for scholarship for kids. And I am so happy to be doing this again for Orange Crush SAC. So make sure you guys, if you are in Chicago, make sure you go and check it out because, hey, the tickets are only $50 to $55. All of the proceeds go to, a kid. This is going to go to a kid that's going to be actually winning a scholarship through Orange Crush SAC.com. So make sure you guys go ahead and make sure if you want to make a donation as well too, you're more than happy to be able to do so. But this Saturday starting off at 8 o'clock is going to be the bomb. I can't wait to be able to get my legs and dance just like Osiris. All right, let's bring her back. Let's go. You wait. Yes. Hey, so that was just right on time. Right in the club. And everybody used to play that song in the club. Every time you hear, go,
And when it
go,
hit,
go,
you
shorty.
know what the other one was? That one, and then when they brought out No Diggity, No Doubt.
Oh,
That was like,
no
"Whoa!"
doubt.
Everybody was like, "No Diggity."
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Oh, you bringing me back, girl. You bringing me back. You make me want to do the Cabbage Patch right now. Oh, my God. That man, I have to say, I commend you because, by me living through those times as well, too, I had so many great memories in regards to just those songs that actually came out. I was in college, even when I was hearing about KC and Jodeci. Oh my goodness. Those are really great times. But for you to be able to live and be in that, sick. I'm sick.
I still got my David Banner t-shirt, okay?
Do you?
I still got my little Mary J. Blige t-shirt.
Nice.
I have it at home. I saved some of the little things so that people can
Yes.
know that we actually were there when we were there. These
Yes.
people actually did
Yes.
this.
Right. Hey, that's beautiful, man. Hey, 15, I have to say 15 minutes, the talk show sensation. And then for you to be able to get into the entertainment business like this that's beautiful. Speaking of entertainment, we're down to our last 8 minutes of fame over here, love. So when we talk about your entertainment business, how do you say, is it ANKH or ANK? How do you say your entertainment business?
It is like the Egyptian Ankh. It's
Ankh?
like
Okay.
Ankh Entertainment. And the way we came with Ankh is like I met Terrence Shattuck, who he's a songwriter and producer, very well
Uh-huh.
known. He wrote the song Physical, co-wrote it for Olivia Newton-John. And so when I
Wow.
met him, I didn't know where I met him. And I was crying because we had just gotten laid off from the record labels. And what happens in the labels and the agencies, they have what they call pink slips. They come around and they lay off shifts at different times, and then they bring in new regimes. So it's
Yeah.
always hard for you to shift. Sometimes you don't last through the cut. So when they come, they're cutting people. They do that. It's a known thing in the industry. Everybody that works for companies, those big companies, they do what they call the first cut, then the second cut. Some people they will bring back. It depends on what the budgets are and what they have to do in terms of getting the artists out there. So I met Shattuck, and I would call him Shattuck. He's from London. And when I met him, he was just really nice to me. And I didn't know, I was like, I don't really know you. I didn't even recognize it when I saw, but for some reason, I had his name and number on my book, so it had to get there. He brought me under his arms. He polished me up for the rest of my business out of the corporations, but as an independent here. He really truly polished me up. He has written for all kinds of people. If you've never heard of him, Doja Cat. He just wrote some things. I think they won something for one of her songs on the Grammy last year. Things like that. But he's really responsible, as are Gail Holcomb and a lot of the people that helped to shape me. I think they always knew I would do something, but I was just a little country girl that took a long time to grow up out of being naive and to actually grow up.
Wow. So one question I do have for you is, when starting this and the name itself, did you come up with that name?
No, it was given to me.
Okay. All right. Okay. And what role, of course, right now, as far as how is the business doing? How's the entertainment business doing right now for you in regards to into this business?
It's doing really good. It is coming along. I have my own television show, as you know, 15 Minutes to Show.
Nice.
I, just like yourself, I have guests that come on once a month.
Okay.
I am an artist. I'm doing an exhibition right now in New York. I'm preparing for that. It's a lot doing that,
Yeah.
I have other commitments, but I really stay true to what I do.
Yeah.
And I am just, I do what I need to do, and I'm there. I write. I am an artist. I dance when I can, even if it's at home.
All right.
I do my in an interview show, and I make a point to stay hooked in. I'm vibed in. Don't let there be a number. I'm vibed in. I've always been vibed in.
I want to say that, for you to be, I call it sometimes plugged in. I'm an IT geek, so I always say plugged in. I'm always plugged in, because I'm always wired up, ready to actually go for, whatever's coming next, right? And I think for you actually have been plugged in ever since you were little, and you've been like locked in ever since you actually were going through what you were going through. But I will say that we have to understand, where did Osiris Munir, like where the name itself, so what's the meaning behind that name?
Osiris was an Egyptian god.
Yes.
The name Osiris contains both the female and male principle. These are archetypal patterns. They have nothing to do with being a man or a woman in a physical body.
Right.
They are energies, and how the masculine energy works and how the feminine energy works.
Yes.
And that can work through any being depending on how much of one of those person has. It also means seer, and a person that is a great seer of has great depth and wisdom. And when I got into Northern California, I went into a group of metaphysicians. They were all Rosicrucians, Madame H. Blavatsky, Theosophians. I thought it was the coolest stuff I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, I'm in. I want to learn how to do yoga, metaphysics. What do y'all talking about? Mantras? I'm into all. I like all of that. So I fit right in, and they took me, groomed me. I ended up in metaphysical school, and one of the astrologers who I have the privilege of now knowing to this day, from when I was age 19 when I met him, we reconnected via online, and we've been back together since. But he told me that, he said, I think you are an Osiris because what you're going to do is something that very few women do, only men do. And I said, what do you mean? That's a guy's name. He's like, no, it's a powerful name, and you're going to grow into it because you are going to live, my dear, to share what we have trained you with the world. Because by the time the world gets to understand where you are, you will need to be in order to be able to tell people. There'll be a lot of people that will need to know some of the things that you know, and that's why you've been through so much. I'm like, okay. I'm like,
yes. I look at Osiris as far as, I went to Egypt, and when I went to Egypt, and you basically see all of the kings and the queens, and you live the way that they live out in Egypt. They live very humble and rich. They might be in so-called poverty in some cases because of the way that they're trying to survive. But I have to say, by having that name Osiris, that is a really strong name. That
it's
is
a big name to live up to.
Oh man. And I think the name itself that you've been named that, it takes you even for like movies. It takes you even for talk shows. People want to say your name, Osiris, all the time, right? And I think
no, they say Oasis, Psoriasis, Elvira. What's the other one?
Did you say Oasis?
And somebody was chasing me down the street. Psoriasis. I know they're not calling me that.
That's not fair. They making it seem like you a disease, like you're itchy. I mean, that's not fair,
But they would think that would be my name. I guess, well, we don't know. I guess people name their kids. It's kind of cool.
I will tell you, I would never mess up that name ever. Listen, especially psoriasis. I would never put that in my vocabulary. I tell you that. I mean, you have a beautiful name, and I think everything that you have done for the world so far, and your legacy, I have to say, you have a legacy that is amazing. You have a legacy, I think, that people really need to know, because sometimes they don't know what happens behind the scenes when you see these baby boomers of artists. That is a beautiful time to actually be in. But you know what's also beautiful? That you said that you had a Mary J Blige shirt, right? You had that, right?
I have my banner shirt still.
But check this out. So you know what else that you're gonna actually have as far as a shirt? I got something for you. Look at this. That's for you.
Oh my God. I love oh, wait a minute. I love t-shirts. To me, there is nothing cuter than girls in a big oversized t-shirt with some boots on and rocking it. I love t-shirts. Thank you. I love those.
Hey, I am definitely sending this to you. And the reason why I'm sending this to you.
Extra large. I want the extra large.
You want that? Okay, I got you, love. I'm going to send that over to you. I'm going to definitely send this over to you. But there's a significance of this shirt, my love. This is significance of this shirt. You are a gem of the world, right? You're a gem of the world because you have done so much for yourself, number one, to make a lot of accomplishments that people didn't know exactly how Osiris was going to get there. And you got there. And when you got there, you continue to fight. And that's the key. You continue to fight. Then someone said, hey, I'm an angel from above. I'm going to come and take you under my wing. I'm going to polish you up. I'm going to make you good. I'm going to make you actually have common sense. I'm going to keep that intellect as well, too. So by you actually doing everything that you're doing and you're being a sensation, the Rico No Suave show, this one is for you. I want to welcome you to the family, love. This is yours.
Oh, yay.
Yeah,
So
let's go.
I got a Rico No Suave.
Right. I want to see you dance. You got to take a video. I want to see you dancing
we
it
gotta
too.
go, man. Oh, I can do it. I dare you. I dare you.
All right, my love. Hey, so I got to put up your I do have to put up your social media. So I do have your social media, right?
Okay,
so everyone, this is at Osiris Munir is on Instagram. Is that okay?
It's at Osiris. It's Osiris Munir Osiris Munir the painter.
Okay, so there's two of them. I'm sorry. Yes, so this is the one that I did find. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So this one will work, and there's another one. Go ahead and repeat that for the audience.
Eric, the power is going out. It is the battery. It is Osiris Munir the painter.
The painter. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm gonna have you if you could bring your screen down just a little bit, love, so I can see your face again.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, he's taking care of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's taking care of that right now. Okay. He's taking
Everybody,
care of
it's the Rico No Suave show. You know what we do. We got Osiris Munir here with us. You know, they just plug in a little bit of power. You already know. I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it.
Hold on 1 second.
I'm hoping you guys are enjoying yourselves. I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Thank you guys so much. Delilah Rivera, hello, mama. ¿Cómo está? Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah. All right. Okay, let me get to the next one. Here is the next one. So I have all for you direct contact. I got that for I had that from you as well too. That's what you said to me. What is it?
It's Ankh Entertainment.
Is it Ankh Entertainment? Okay, let's go to the next one. I got Twitter. Is that right?
No. It's at it's at OSISAN on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
You know what the thing is? Because just so people out there understand, when you've been on social media a while, sometimes they switch and you change names, and they don't change the titles that go with them.
Oh man!
That says Osiris Munir. Because somebody was using my name on Twitter, and I changed the handle tag. Because they were doing business. I'm like, look, I'm a professional person. This is a real thing. I'm not on here playing around. You know?
Right.
The tag. So there's nothing wrong with you, but it is under Osiris on. It's on Osiris on, like Ankh, but A-N.
On. Okay.
OSIRI and then SAN. Osiris.
All right. Let me see if I got the website right. I do have a website. Let me see. Is that right?
Yes. Nope.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
That's the blog. That is the blog.
Yes.
And my website is expressinabstract.net.
Okay. All right. But if they went to this blog, will they be also able to go to other social media that you actually have on this blog page too?
My blog goes into it goes into YouTube, it goes into all the other things.
Boom.
And on the blog, all my videos, it's in chronological order, so you can actually see from where I'm taking. Just so people know, when I started my show, one of my friends and I said, I want to start a show. I want to go on the streets of LA and talk to people that Hollywood don't want to talk to because they're not famous anymore, whatever. I'll talk to them. Yeah. And she stood in the middle of the street with me. It's on my YouTube channel. You'll see me saying I'm starting 15 minutes to show, and here we are this year later.
That's awesome, man.
That's how I started, just walking around in the streets talking to people.
Yeah, I love it. Love, of course, our time is up. I hope you had a great time today. I had a blast with you today. Did you have a good time?
I'll always have fun.
I love that. Fun. I love it. And you did make it fun for me, love. I'm like, I got to give her a shirt because she likes to dance.
My T-shirt.
I will. All right, love. I will see you later. Thank you so much for joining. Everybody, put your hands together. Osiris Munir.
Everyone out there that joined in, bienvenidos.
Gracias.
Bella. Ciao. Hasta la
See you
vista.
later. Ciao, babes. Everybody, man, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the journey today, everybody. It was awesome. Awesome. I am so, I get thrilled just by hearing someone's journey and what they went through, and especially when it comes to music. I love music, man. We love music around here. So just to be able to hear Osiris Munir actually go through the whole 80s, the booming of the baby. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. And yes, we got to go over our social media because our social media is important as well too. All right, everybody, www.riconosuaveshow.com is where you find all of our information and who we are and what we are about. So make sure you go to our website there. Here's the next one. Boom. Yes, you already know. Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you go and follow us at Instagram. So make sure you go to Instagram, follow us there. Here's the next one. You already know, everybody. We are on Facebook. Yes, we welcome back. Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you go ahead and like everything that we're actually doing there. And yes, follow us there too. Here's the next one. YouTubers, yes, YouTubers, everybody. Rico No Suave Show. Make sure you go to Rico No Suave. Make sure you go to Rico No Suave Show and actually subscribe there. I almost went back and said and wanted to mess up Osiris's name. All right, Rico No Suave Show. I wound up messing up my name. All right, here's the last one. Mixcloud.com/Rico No Suave Show. Yes, make sure you go ahead and check us out. Turn into a podcast after a while, everybody. All right. Next week, we do it again, everybody. I will see you guys next time on the show as we end up the show just like this.
Over. Cool stakes. So far, people, we gotta keep this thing going. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the end. We'll be back with more special guests every Saturday, right here at the Rico No Suave Show. Same Rico No Suave time.